You're like, this is too much sound.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wait, what were you saying?
Are we done?
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, so welcome, folks, to Terrorisk episode 18. Yeah, it is currently September 8th on a Thursday. And as of this recording, we are one day away from my biggest DJ set ever at the Brooklyn Monarch, September 9th, at Toxic Synergy, in case you're into doing drugs and which really I should not be doing. I mean, at my age, like, I'm fucking 30 years old. I'm DJing at raves. What the fuck am I doing? I have no fucking clue, but, you know, 'tis what it is. This is I threw my I threw it in with this lot, so I gotta sleep in my own bed that I made. Pretty sure I just got like 2 idioms in a row, like, really wrong, but whatever. Fuck it. We're both maybe a little out of it because I'm coming out of work. You're coming out of work. How was your first day?
I didn't sleep because I was afraid I wasn't going to get there in time. My anxiety kept me awake all night. It's hard for me to unwind, and so I didn't sleep an hour at all. I think you know when you're like trying to sleep, and then like
you're trying to sleep, but then you're like
at the last,
but then you're
moment,
retarded, and you play Final Fantasy 1 all night instead.
It would have just been laying there if it wasn't for that. And then I watched Squid Game again.
Yeah. Squid Game? Wait, you watched it over again?
Yeah.
You know, there's better stuff than Squid Game that's like it. You ever watch?
I like the way Squid Game played out because like it's like it seems like it's just a screen show. All of a sudden, when he's talking to the VIP people, they're all speaking American, like English. And these like American rich like elitists, like that's what you would assume the Illuminati goes and does. Like they wear crazy like animal gold-plated masks and go to these crazy fucked up like underground game show things that they host. That they're making bets on who's gonna live and die just as a sport. Like it's fun. And then he tries to get the one dude and tries to like get him to blow him. And he's like, you know, if you can please me in under 5 minutes, like that's what you expect. Like this like typical like I guess like in your mind this like billion gazillionaire kind of elitist like Illuminati type person, and they come in at the end, and it's like you see like the guy like that's like the host, not the host, I guess the front man, and he just comes off as some anime villain. It's so outlandish because it seems like a normal like drama show, and then you have this like anime villain type character that's almost cartoonish, but it's not. It's like realistic enough to be realistic, but it's still kind of cartoonish and like have that like anime cartoon villain kind of vibe. And at the end, it pretty much plays out like that because the guy, spoilers, because the guy just like dyes his hair and becomes this like crazy dude who's going after them now with a vendetta.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like the more I talk, the more Squid Game comes up to me. Like the more, like every single time I get progressively more, I get progressively less enthused about the show. Like when I first, like, you know, when it first came out, I first saw it and it first came up in conversation, I was like, yeah, it was a pretty good show. Then after that, again, it's like, yeah, it was okay. And then after that, it's like, yeah, you know. But, you know, the more and more I think about it, the more I keep thinking about Battle Royale. You ever see that movie?
No.
Woo, we got some homework to do, buddy. You got some catching up to do. It's a good fucking movie.
I just like, cause it's a pretty. I think it like it's a good like what we think would be an accurate like of how people would act and react in situations where they knew they were gonna die and had to.
Yeah, but my main criticisms about that show is that the concept has been done like so many times in many different ways. I mean, the big ones that like most Westerners would be knowledgeable about would be like the Hunger Game movies.
I never watched Hunger Games.
It's the same shit, you know, like basically poor people have to fight to the death for the fucking, and you know what?
It sounds a lot like capitalism in the general.
No, well, consider the fact that this sort of practice has been like long running since like what, like ancient Roman times, ancient Greek times.
You fucking gladiators and shit.
Yeah, so it's not like, it's definitely by no means a new idea. It's just novel, I guess, when you implement like such a barbaric and old practice into like the modern world, and that's what kind of gives you this illusion, like, oh wow, I never thought about this. But
rich
really,
people like to like watch poor people kill each other. Once you run out of all the, and I like, there was a good speech at the end though. Like the old man I felt bad for him in that episode where he pretended like his dementia was bad, and he was like, "You were trying to trick me the whole time, but it's okay. You know, I'm this old. I'm gonna go." And he like pretended he got shot, but later on you find out he is the main fucking dude, and he's in the deathbed. He's like, "Look out that window. See that homeless man sitting there? Like, I'll make a bet with you. You know, before like if this guy before I die in these couple minutes, you know, if somebody helps him out." But and then he does pass away. And then right after that, he's looking at the camera and he sees somebody stop in the middle of the street and help this man up. And, you know, and it kind of changes the way he thinks about it. He thought all was lost. It's good. And he's also talking about how it's like, yes, you know, I was this super rich billionaire. I had everything. I could, any type of entertainment, any type of sex, anything I could have, everything gets boring. He's like, he pretty much told, like, you know, not all that glitters is gold. Everything gets gray, no matter how much you can have. And he's like, so we started this thing. And it was different. And then I even got sick of watching other people do it, so I decided to join the game myself during my dying days to live as one of those people, like one of you, and, you know, be a part of that.
I don't even think that was the most interesting part, though. I didn't really give a fuck about the twist. Obviously, the one that's really that was more of like the parlor trick. You know, that was the what was it? They explained this so well in that movie, The Prestige. But the real prestige, the real whatever, I think that was ultimately, a satisfying ending for a season. But I think that's ultimately going to be a red herring, because the real mystery is still like the cop and his brother. You know, like that's the one thing that was never really fully explained.
Well, it just kind of ends because like they don't give you any context.
Well, I could already tell you what's going to happen. Squid Game's going to come back for another season. There's going to be another set of games, and then the cop is going to be involved again, because if you saw at the end of his arc, his little story thing, he confronts his brother, who we find out is the man in the black mask, was the older brother of the cop that was missing or presumed dead. And basically,
he survived the fall.
Absolutely, 100%. It's so predictable.
If you fall from that distance, the water feels like concrete when you hit it.
But for the sake of the plot, he's going to survive. And this is what I'm talking about. This is where the criticisms really come up, show that, because at the end of the day, it's a really obvious formula. And here's my thing about like Korean cinema and like Korean shows, K-dramas, and Korean movies in general. People like I've noticed when Westerners like talk about and like, you know, glow on about how like fucking amazing Korean cinema is, and I'm like, I pay attention to what they like about it. And it's always like surface level shit. It always comes off to me as like, you know, you got these white people who just experience like K-dramas and K-movies for the first time, and you know, they don't really know.
People from other countries have the same feelings as us. This is crazy to us.
Well, yeah.
Some of it I think is that. It's
no. That's one way to look at it. But here's the thing: like what people say, they're always like, oh, the twist. That twist was so crazy, and they don't really know how to put it into words. All they say is that it's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. The twist is crazy and all this stuff. But I think personally, when it comes to like K-dramas and K-movies, all the plot stuff, like all the fucking twists, all the story beats and all that shit, it's all incredibly formulaic. It's all got to follow the same formula, because Korean cinema and Korean television, they all have to follow a certain protocol as dictated by the government. Why? Because their economy depends on it. The Korean economy wasn't like the American economy that was dominant globally. Every bit, even their media, had to be geared towards bringing Korea more money. That's why it is the way it is. Now, so the thing about that is that the story beats and all the plot twists mostly are going to follow a formula. You'll have rare exceptions like Old Boy and Parasite, but by and large, the shit that we're all being exposed to right now.
Old Boy's Korean?
Yeah. Oh. The things that we're all being exposed to right now, it's all fucking, it's all formulaic. What people don't get is that what really makes this shit good, honestly, it's the acting.
No, that's what I was about to say. Those actors
yeah.
are fucking, like, they know how to get dramatic and not seem over the top. It seems realistic for the context. Like, if you think you're about to die and you start saying anything to anyone, like you're so desperate to just fucking like, just team up with me, please. I can do whatever you want. I can do. So why would you just trying to say anything? Like those kind of situations in this, like those dire, like I can. It's almost like you feel like what they feel.
Do you know why?
You don't like the character.
Do you know why? Because life. That's life in Korea. I explained this to you. How like, you know, yeah, it's a capitalist country, South Korea specifically, but it's not like America, where you could be like doing really bad economically, but right? You at least you have some kind of distinguishable identity, because that's what America is. It's a country built up of multiple identities. So it's like I could be the most brokest motherfucker in America, but at least I could say, well, I'm a proud Korean man. Or someone else could be like, well, I may be whatever, but I'm a proud black man.
Yeah, there you're just, I'm a man that doesn't have any money.
Exactly. No. It's worse. It's worse. If you're poor or something, or doing bad, there's no excuse. There's no fucking excuse you could hide from there. There's no saying, well, my people were oppressed, or discrimination is holding me down, blah, blah, blah. For them, it's just, no, you're Korean like the rest of us.
Isn't there some kind of, if you're not born into money, it's harder, right? There must be that same kind of class or caste system in some way.
No, because in America, it was all white men. It's all the class is all pointed at white supremacy. In Korea, it's all lineage. And that's not something that you could
that's
just...
still a type of class, though. It's like you're born from a poor family, so you are, you're going to struggle.
Because Korean politics was so tumultuous. It's not like one tyrant could ever last this long. It's like plenty of royal family, whatever. The ones who like benefited from that kind of lineage just happen to be the last in line in that system. And even they're dying out in their own way, like it's not the same, it's just not the same. So we take that to acting, right? And what that really means is every Korean universally, whether they're in the highest classes or the bottom classes, they all know what it feels like to be in a constant mode of eating shit and constant repression. You're not allowed to express yourself there as liberally as you can here. It's not the same, because etiquette just matters more in East Asian countries, Because that's the only thing keeping the animals at bay. There is the etiquette. It's not like here where we have mutual respect.
But not everyone follows that etiquette, though.
It's beyond something that's conscious. It's ingrained into a what's the word? Homogenous ethnic culture. It's not like America, where in America we have this mutual respect for these weird, diverse, and mysterious cultures that are separate from our own, and we're coexisting with them. And how novel is this? In Korea, that is completely non-existent. All they have to keep themselves civil is the idea of etiquette, respect for its own sake, because it works. And that's how they think of it. So no matter what, at the end of the day, every Korean is generally repressed. And that's...
I've also heard of them, they have generational gaps too. I've
heard
the word boomer used in the show. Maybe it was translated, but they have their own word for boomer.
Yeah, but so what? That's just a generational thing. That's something that's older than capitalism too. Even the ancient Romans were constantly harping on... They always, since the beginning of civilization, each generation thought they were better than the next one. That's just something that's always... So forget that. But what you should really focus on is that in a show like Squid Game, every single character, no matter who they are, no matter what their economic background was, they all kind of had that turmoil, believable turmoil, because that's true for Korean culture. Every Korean experiences some form of turmoil.
Well, there's a lot of convos in between them. It's like, what did you do to fuck up? How you think you're better than me because you went to this school, but you're still in this fucking place like me.
Yep.
That's how and they do talk about in the game, we made this game to everyone's equal.
Yep.
Everyone has equal opportunities no matter what fucking race or anything you are, no matter even there's barely any other race. But there's one Indian guy. No, Pakistan, right? Where's he from? I forgot.
I don't know.
One dude.
But that's just also one example.
But he's also lived in there for a while.
But that's also just one example. You ever see Parasite the movie?
No.
Oh my god, it's amazing.
I've played Parasite Eve.
No, fuck you. You're uncultured swine, man. I can't believe you never saw Parasite. We'll watch. You never saw Battle Royale.
You never played Parasite Eve?
I played Parasite Eve.
Okay.
And then you're trying to fucking talk to me about Squid Game.
I only watched my mom play it.
See, that's another reason why I hate Squid Game. It's that's legitimately lowbrow Korean kino to me. It's lowbrow shit.
Yeah, but it was half made for Americans. You can tell.
Obviously, because Netflix fucking produced it.
And then some of it is in English because they do have American characters in it. It's like the show was made. It's kind of like, okay, that show was made the same way you're talking about how Korean pop culture and stuff is made to make money. Who do you make money off of? Rich Americans. Who was that game show making money off of? In the end of it, you saw all these elite, rich American guys yeah, I want to see this happen. All these dumb fucking alcoholic fucking like
Yeah, yeah.
sexual deviant, like super globally, like super elitist, like rich people that they were like, the VIPs are coming. We have to act really respectful and get everything done for them. The whole show is pretty much for these elite people to place billion-dollar debts, like billion-dollar bets on all these different people.
Yeah.
And that's how they generated their income to make this possible show for them.
Well, they also made the show. I mean, they
Well,
made
like
the game.
you couldn't make money showing that show to the general population. You had to have VIP, super rich, hush hush people who were paying top dollar to see real live people die in front of them. You know, it's like some underground.
Wait, are you
operation.
talking about the TV show Squid Game?
I'm talking about how. Yes, I'm talking about how the show, the demographic of people they were making money off of in the story of the show was the same demographic you were talking about how Korean movies and culture is made to just draw in money from, you know. And
No. I said that's not their purpose. Obviously, the ultimate point of any movie is truly art. At the end of the day, that's the purpose. But the whole money making thing, that's a concession. As in, like, let's say I tell you, right, you can make any movie you want. You could, whatever idea you have, go ahead and fucking make it. But if you want to use Korean resources, Korean property to do it, you can make whatever movie you want, whatever story you want, but it has to bring in money. So then you start thinking differently. It's like, yes, I can do my idea, I can do the movie I want, the script I want, but
you have it on Netflix and you're sending it to America. That's where money's coming from. You're getting money from.
yeah, but we're talking about way before that. I mean, Koreans have been at this for a long time, like with the movie making thing.
Yeah, but a lot of
for
people
a few
like
decades
think
now.
about it like Japanese cartoons and anime. A lot of their income and most video games come from American consumers.
Well, now it does, but
Nintendo didn't make their shit tons of money just by staying there.
Actually-
Japan. They made it because they went to America and started fucking Nintendo, which wasn't what it was originally called. What was it originally called? I forgot. I forgot what it was.
All right, so what you're trying to sit there and say is that America is the source of all like prosperity.
The
in all these
consumers,
countries.
yes.
If
you're from another country, you wanna sell
you
some
know that
shit.
Japan as a country is much older than America, right?
Yeah, but you think Pokemon made most of its money just by being in Japan, where the United States and in Europe and all these other countries that it
Did you know that
went to
Nintendo was founded in the 1800s?
as like a board games and things like that?
Yeah, like trading cards and shit.
I watched some documentaries.
Yeah. Nintendo, I'm pretty sure, was born on the same year Hitler was born in the 1800s.
It wasn't called Nintendo though, but before it came here.
Yeah, but it was something Zaibatsu. It was a Zaibatsu. It was like a conglomerate, but really it was backed by like, I'm pretty sure like late 19th century gangster families like the Yakuza.
Like, did we? I don't even think we had like we had Atari, right?
What?
Was Atari even American?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Atari was American.
Okay,
yeah.
but then everything else was dominated by the Japanese for a long time
Well,
until we had like Microsoft making
wait, listen. You know that whole thing was
Sony.
because of the Japanese tech boom, right? Of the late 80s and early 90s. Do you remember that?
No.
All right,
I was
so
a
the
baby.
reason why Japan had their time in the sun because there was a Japanese tech boom. A lot of like technology was being produced by the Japanese, and it was making their way to be imported into the States. But the problem was most of it was actually junk. I mean, nowadays we think of Japanese products and we generally think higher quality. But back in those days, like back in the late 90s, late 80s, early 90s, Japanese shit was actually
Or just selling shitty CD players and stuff.
They were pretty much just like their quality stuff was pretty much how we view like made in China stuff.
Yeah.
So like, but still, they persisted and they kept developing and whatever. And I think that's just more of a testament to persistence than anything. But yeah, they kept it going. And now well, not now, but there was a time when they achieved like total dominance in like, like the key essential technological sectors like automobiles, cell phones. But now it's Korea. More people are driving Hyundai than Honda. More people are using Samsung than Sony. Like it's insane how fast it happened too. And it's because I think like partially a lot of it is because America would rather back South Korea than Japan. Reason being, America has way more control over South Korea's economy, government, culture, everything, like politics, than they would ever have for Japan. So ergo, they're going to back South Korea.
And we also didn't have to have World War II with them. That's probably a thing.
I mean, that's all water under the bridge.
Yeah, that
I mean,
pretty
look,
much
we're
is,
like
yeah.
you know how big German
I'm just
manufacturing
tired.
is, and you know how big German manufacturing is in the United States and shit. You know.
Yeah, but there's certain things. It's not like not technology. It's like cars and shit like that.
No, cars, not. When we think of German imports, we think of high quality shit. There's no way around it. You're not going to think of like, this is made in Germany, and you're not going to think it's something fucking cheap. You're going to think it's something nice, right? That's what I'm saying. As opposed to if I tell you this is made in China, you're going to be like, oh, well, yeah, okay. Like, it's not the same.
It's funny. It's like we don't have a lot of made in the UK.
I don't know. Something.
It's also where America, we're like, fuck you, we won.
No,
Yeah, like-
no. I wouldn't say that. There are some UK staples, especially in like fashion and stuff, like particularly men's fashion.
Yeah, that's it. It's fat, like the shoes I'm wearing. It's like fucking like what are they fucking? I might forget. I'm so fucking tired. Ben Sherman. Yeah, shit like that.
I mean, they don't manufacture it. Nobody, even American brands don't manufacture their shit in America. It's all made in China anyway, so. I mean, Chinese manufacturing now has gotten to the point.
Why do they have all the cheap like supplies to be able to make these things like for cheap? Is it like the labor cost, or is it they have like the materials?
All right, first of all, have you looked at a fucking map?
It's huge.
Yeah, China's a humongous fucking country. It's the biggest country in all of the Eastern Asia. Like, but the biggest country in the world, I'm pretty sure, is Russia.
Yeah, and it's also too cold to like invade. You'll die. Half your troops will get sick and die and starve before they even get to the battle. That's what happened with Napoleon. Then it happened with Hitler. They're like, we're gonna. Oh shit! It's fucking cold. Jesus Christ! You people live in this, and they just like got half of them got wrecked before they can even get to where they're going because it was like they can't see. It's fucking just white and freezing.
Yo,
this is motherland.
Speaking of cold and freezing, while I roll this joint and go pee, can you describe the coldest day you've experienced as a bike messenger?
Oh, I can't remember. I've had so many cold days.
What about the one that sticks most in memory?
I do remember riding through Times Square in freezing sleet and rain while going through heroin withdrawals, while soaking wet and freezing. Yeah, well, you always have to eat. You'll die if you don't eat. Even if you puke it up sometimes. Or most of the time. I don't remember. I was pretty. Everything was pretty hazy during those times. I just remember, when it's so cold that like, if somebody even like flicks your finger, it feels like you got your finger cut off. Like it's painful. Like for some reason the nerves in your hands are just fucked up, and I get bad circulation anyway. You ever like being extremely cold and you fall on your hands and it's like a living hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. And your muscles are tight the whole time. You can't relax. You haven't relaxed. Everything hurts and is sore because your muscles are clenched. So that's your body's reaction to being cold, is try to clench every muscle in your body and close itself off so they're cold, which doesn't actually help because it actually restricts blood flow, which would keep you warmer, but you can't help it. I'm about to. Yeah, I feel like those memories are gonna start to come back once I start feeling what cold really is again.
Hells yeah. It's okay. I got some novel ways to keep warm that's not gay sex. We could go and fucking get some Korean barbecue on a cold evening.
That's the one great thing about winter is there's something better than being like, like a winter, the wind's hitting you, your face is like frosty and wet, and you like walk into the wind and like open up a pub door to like light cheering, and all of a sudden you open the door and you hear and it's like warm and there's beer and clinging, and like that warm sensation of walking into a pub or a cozy bar when it's freezing and just like and you take your coat off slowly and wipe off the snow and you sit down in a booth and you get your drinky drink and you just it's just something about that. It makes sometimes the cold makes certain things feel better, like sleeping. It makes it feel better when you can just curl up into a ball and you're like when it's cold out. It just makes it better. It's the contrast, you know.
Yeah.
If you want to feel good, you need to suffer, and then feel, you know, something that's not suffering feels good to you now.
I mean, you remember the experience of Korean barbecue, taking soju shots and shit, right?
Yes, and I think sometimes it even crosses my mind, like, you know, like if you've ever done a drug and you get like flashbacks, you drink and like think about it, or have a dream that you did that drug, and it's like that. It was like that good.
Yeah.
Like I can, like, sometimes it'll just flash into my mind, like, you remember that? It's like my brain's trying to like turn me into an addict.
What's even better is you were drunk as fuck too, so it's like a fever dream to you.
I wasn't that drunk.
Yeah, you were.
No?
We were both pretty fucked up that night, dude.
I was the one who crashed into a parked car.
So what? We were both fucking rock.
I was pretty level. It was good. I had good cognitive function.
We did a whole podcast episode that night. We were getting drunk throughout the whole thing, and then we went and I drove.
Yeah, but that's how you sustain a real long drunk, is by eating a shit ton of food in between the different sessions. So like you're like, whoa, and then you eat and you're like, yeah, okay, all right, I can have some more. You know, it soaks up some of the booze. You can still maintain a level head.
That's what I was trying to explain to you when I was like, yeah, Koreans don't go to like just pubs. Koreans go to restaurants.
That's smarter.
Yeah.
You got to eat if you're gonna drink that much.
And you know what? What's even smarter?
And you don't feel sick
What's
in the
even
morning.
smarter is if you do it that way, the restaurant way. You can bring your kids. Because you're not taking them to a pub or anything or degenerate. You're taking them to a restaurant.
One thing I was I saw like a video, because I get all these videos on like you know Facebook watching whatever shit. I don't know if it's in Korea. Yeah, in Korea or something. South Korea, of course. North Korea doesn't do anything cool. But it was like they, you know, people like here, like they drink a lot more when they're out because they have a thing called designated driver apps, which is they will come and pick you up from the bar, drive you home, and tow your car back to your house with it. So you can drive to the bar, get wrecked, have somebody pick you and your car up, so you wake up the next morning like, what the fuck happened? Look out the window. Oh, my car's here. I got my keys and everything's fine. I got into a designated driver car last night and safely and completely blasted out of my head. Got home, and it's like, I think that's a pretty genius fucking app, actually. I would love it. If you have a car and sometimes you're like, I gotta get it home. I need it in the morning. I need it tomorrow, so I have to drunk drive now home. If you can get somebody to just, while you're just completely like, fuck it, I'll take 5 more bottles. Because
I'd rather
I'm getting into this designated drive. I'm gonna wake up in my own place, and my car is gonna be safely outside, and I didn't have to drive.
I'd literally rather just fucking sleep in the car.
Yeah, but then you have to get up and go, oh, fuck, hungover, and like drive back to where you need to go rather than waking up in your own bed.
That's fine.
Getting a glass of water from your own sink and going right back to bed.
No, that's fine.
Taking a piss, having a wank, smoking,
for me,
going back to sleep, waking up without a hangover.
No, for me, it would be, I would probably sleep in the car, wake up. It would be like 7 in the morning. That would be 3 hours from work. So I would have time to drive home within the hour, take a shower real quick, change my clothes, and get back to work by 10 a.m. That would be generally.
That's so much more on your, like me. I like already take like 3 hours or something to get ready for work in the morning. Like
what can I say? You're a fucking child, bro. Grow up.
No, I'm an old man.
Grow the fuck up.
I take a long time to get ready in the morning. I take my time.
That's not adult.
I take a piss. I smoke a cigarette. I look at my phone for a minute. I take a shower.
No.
Slow.
No. Saying
shave.
No, saying that's the
I make
adult thing.
poops.
Saying that that's the adult thing goes right out the window when the night before you were getting loaded on a fucking work night. Already, you can't use that excuse.
That's adulting.
No, it's not.
If I'm still willing to, even if I have to suffer through it and like get up and like shake it off and get to where I need to be, that's responsible.
All right, but that's what I do. That's not what you do. That's what I do.
Now, if I woke up or didn't go to sleep and just kept drinking and went to work and just kept the drink going, that would be irresponsible.
Well, I do that sometimes. It's not that I get loaded at work. It's like if I go to work hungover, a beer really does help a lot.
Yeah, but I've noticed if I'm hungover, now I just try to like suffer through it because anytime I have started going, if I just take I have some left, let me take a shot. And the hair of that dog that bit you is like, that's when your brain starts going, oh, we don't need to recreate our own dopamine anymore, do we? You're just going to put this chemical in your body, so the brain stops producing it. So now you start getting shaky and start feeling really weird. At first, it's just a vague, weird, like, I feel just fucking off today. I can't smile. Like, I don't feel like humorous. And then before you know it, you're waking up and you're shaking, and you have the shakes, and your breathing is like erratic, and you realize, holy shit, I'm having alcohol withdrawals. And if it keeps going like this, I might have to go to a hospital.
Yeah, but you know,
you can't eat. Your stomach's quaking and shivering.
Look, there's another element to this equation that I always have.
You gotta let your body heal itself before you inject it with more shit.
There's another element. There's another factor that I employ that I have abundantly available, and I could use it as either a supplement or an alternative, like a substitute, and it's weed. Like I have a lot of the weed, you know.
Weed, if I am having a bad hangover, weed makes it even worse because now that's scared. I have like, they have a word for it now, hangxiety. So I wake up with if I drink too much, I wake up with an extreme, like over more than I normally am, feeling of like crippling, like I can't even move my head the right way, anxiety. Like it feels like my whole body's tight and frozen. And I fucking hate that. And there has been a lot of times where like if I just take like 2 or 3 shots right now, I'd be like, but then I have to keep up with it the rest of the day, or I start getting fucking weird again. So I don't like to.
So if I'm ever like really extraordinarily hungover, I'll drink a beer, right? And that's usually what I'll do. But like you said, you can't do that every time you get hungover. Otherwise, you build like a chemical dependency.
But then once that beer wears off, you're gonna feel off again.
So then I break out the joint and I smoke the joint, and the joint really does work for a lot of like it works to counter a lot of adverse other drug effects. Like for example, when you take Molly and you're on a really bad come down, you smoke a joint. Oh my God, you feel like you're in heaven. Like suddenly it shifts that terrible.
Oh yeah, I get that. Yeah, I know that.
Oh, see, that's what I'm talking about. Weed really does.
Xanax helps.
Fuck Xanax. I fucking hate Xanax. I hate. You know why?
You're coming down and you can't fucking relax.
Fuck that. You know why I hate Xanax? Because I hate people on Xanax.
That's what gets me about drugs. Is like sometimes you just need more drugs to counteract the fucking drugs, and it gets tiring sometimes.
But it's weed, dude. We're not talking about. You're the one that fucking said Xanax. All right.
Yeah, I
said weed.
I'm just
right. See, I was taking a step back. You were taking a step forward here.
Yeah, but I've taken those steps forward.
Let's just like acknowledge the fact that you've known me. I'm 30 years old. You've known me since I was like fucking 15 years old.
Yeah, you got your own body figured out. But for me, if I smoked a joint while I was feeling that, the anxiety would be so bad, I'd curl up into a fetal position and not be able to go to work.
Yeah. You could, but you also did everything so irresponsibly, whether it was like drinking or drugs. Everything you did like full throttle.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have did that. You fucked it up for yourself.
I did. And now I just don't really.
Goddamn. See, I still enjoy my shit. I don't know what it was. It wasn't even like, I guess it was just instinct where I was like, and it was really alienating for me at the time. I felt like there was something wrong with me. It's like, why do you guys just keep like fucking yourselves? Am I missing something? Like, am I not doing this whole like cool kid thing right? Like, what the fuck are you guys doing? And then I got older and I look back and see where everyone ended up, and I'm like, all right, you guys were just retarded. Like you guys were just fucking dumb.
It must feel like you're eating a meal with some people and everyone eat a lot and everyone should be full and you're full and you're like, I'm good. And everyone else is like, no, I'm going to keep shoveling more. And it's like, yeah, and I'm like, not full. It's like, yeah, I feel sick. But I keep fucking eating it. You're like, and they're like, you get a little bit up and shoveling more into their mouths. And you're like, I'm full. What the fuck are you all doing?
Yeah.
And they're just like, I just need to eat a couple more bites.
You know why?
Just a couple more bites.
Know why? Because
you're like, dude, this hurts now for you, right?
Because in that scenario, right? In that scenario, this is how it works. Most of the people leave the restaurant and they go home to some shitty place. I left the restaurant and went home to nice things like my passions and my goals and my ambitions and shit. They went home to just nothing. We're speaking in metaphors here. Like we're all at the restaurant, everyone's overeating.
I also think it's like the brain is like, okay, more at this point must mean I'm gonna feel better and better and better and better and better. Like there's no fucking limit.
That's not
and that's not how it works, because your brain can only, no matter what you pump chemically into your body, your brain can only produce so many happy chemicals before it just goes.
You know what I think?
It's like shooting blanks.
I think one of the lucky things about my upbringing was I had a vast array of different experiences. Right, everything from like good living to like really, really low standards of living. Right, and I think because of that range, it gave me enough like reference of different stimuli for my brain where nothing was really like, it's not that it wasn't new. It was more so it wasn't overwhelming to the point where it could like, affect my judgment. It's like I've seen the good, the really good, and I've seen the really bad. I mean, which compared to like, let's be honest, compared to most Staten Island kids, they have a pretty common story. They have a pretty common plot line. For me, it wasn't the same. A child of immigrants. I was moving between boroughs. I was like my dad was a gangster of all things. Like it was a complicated upbringing for me, which put me in many more different situations than most of my peers, right? So knowing that, like from everything from being a child of immigrants from another culture and also like having to integrate with like American culture and all this shit, in my upbringing. So that automatically put me in like a state where I think I was just better back then at seeing the bigger picture, because everyone was so focused on their own shit. And that's what kind of isolated me.
And you're
I was
in
like,
between shit. Like,
yeah, exactly. I was like, you guys are so focused on this one end, but you're really like blinding yourself to like this other whole
one thing, I have a question for you too. I have a question for you this time. So like, I remember you kind of just popping up and me hanging out when you like, but where did you come from? Like, I don't know where and when in the timeline of everyone that I hung out with and knew from the Lucky Fucks crowd, from all these other people. I didn't know. I can't really tell how did you get into it with all these people that I know with you? Like,
all right. So what happened was like
you just randomly got like fired in there, and I just met you, and it was just like, hey, this is
So listen, let me explain it. When I was 14, actually. I was living with my grandmother around Stonegate in Old Town, and I just had moved there, and that was my childhood home growing up too. So it was like moving back to my like childhood home at my grandma's, and like I was going to the Tottenville Institute at the time, and there was a park right across the street from the house, and I would always go to that park as a kid. Like I always felt like that was my park. So naturally, when I was 14, I would go there with like some booze and cigarettes and do my bad kid shit all by myself. How
did you get into that though?
Listen. Just
that.
listen. Let me finish.
Okay.
So eventually, some kids come up, right? Like they're around my age. They're pretty much exactly my age, and we just ended up talking. Like they talked to me, I talked to them, got to know each other, and it was Mike Cicero.
Okay.
So he was like the first person that I really met in like
Terrorisk kids.
Yeah, when I was 14, and it was the Terrorisk kids. Yeah, so that's Mike was the one that introduced me.
And
to
they already knew me, and I hung out with them already.
Yep.
And they were going to my shows before I even started hanging out with them.
Yep. So there you go.
So
it all makes sense now, right?
Wait. But that was like that would be the crowd that I thought you started getting into smoking cigarettes and fucking drinking at the age of 14.
I was already doing it way before I met them.
When did you pick that up without the influences?
All right, so before I even knew the Bay Terrace kids, I knew the Woodrow kids, because like before I moved into my grandma's at 14, that I started that school year living in Woodrow, and when I was in Woodrow, going from fucking, what was it, 6th grade all the way into freshman year of high school, I made a lot of friends growing up there, and that was where there was some mutual bleed over, with friends. But from like grade 6 to freshman year of high school, I was in Woodrow going to IS-34 and Tottenville. And I don't know, for some reason, when I went to Tottenville, like, yeah, a couple of my friends went there and shit from like middle school and stuff. I don't know why. But like maybe it was because my dad did it and I just grew up watching him do it. But like, the black football team kids were always outside selling Newport cigarettes, and eventually
the football team selling cigarettes.
Yeah, and he was like, yo Bruce Lee, and I'm like, what?
The typical.
And I was
like, you can't even say that's really like a slur. It's just like,
and I was a little
generalization.
I was a little kid, I didn't have that many friends in freshman year of high school.
You can't say St. calling you Bruce Lee is like a diss.
But whatever. He was like, yo, you want to buy some cigarettes? I'm like, how much? He was like, $5 a pack. Even back then, like that was still pretty cheap. So I was like, yeah. So I bought it, and then that was my first pack of cigarettes I ever bought, and I smoked it. And then other people saw me smoking, and they would come up to me, ask me for one, smoke it with me, talk to me, and that's became a way to make friends, just smoking cigarettes.
It's a 14-year-old Asian city, New York City street kid,
and at the same year,
cigarettes and having random people come up. It's like, can I have a cig?
And at that same year, my friends from middle school who like were in the same year as me, they were also kind of getting into their high school shit. So some of my old friends from middle school, I would catch up to them again. It's like, yo, high school's crazy, right? And I'm like, yeah. And they'll be like, yo, you want to go get drunk?
Dude,
and that's when I started. That's when I started.
Fucking young in New York City, man. I realized like being away, like I've noticed like some kids. I've been working in places where I'm like, 20 something, almost 30, and like it's hard to tell at a certain age because I look like a kid who's older than me or who's younger than me.
Yeah.
So
I think we're kind of growing up.
They'll be like a 19, 20-year-old. I think they're a little bit older, whatever. I don't know. I've been having conversations with them, and I'll like, they'll be at the end of the night, and I'll be like, I got a couple of like bottles. I bought this. We're closing. You want to take it like a shot? And they're just like, oh no, I'm not 21. I can't drink. I'm like, oh, you kids are built differently. Like we're out here just like smoking cigarettes and drinking Steel fucking reserves in the random park at 14, breaking bottles and shit. And these kids are like, oh, I'm not 21 yet. It's like, you listen to that? Like, are you like there's so many bad words I could say right now. I don't want to be rude because you were brought up different. But it's like, oh my God, what it was.
Well, to be honest, it's also my dad made me had my dad was a
We're
gangster.
just tougher. I swear to God, like even when I came back to New York, kids are respectful in those red states, man, and they're kind of naive and childish. Where like kids here are like grown by the time they're like 12. They're like, yo, shut the fuck up, you fucking retard. And I'm like, holy shit, these kids are like fucking like think there's some tough shit where kids are as timid as I think children should be in other places.
There's a biological explanation to that if you want to listen to it.
Because you got to act tough.
Well, here's the thing, right? It's all to do with your brain. So it's all biological, meaning when you as a person are put in different situations that you're not used to, like specifically challenges like new jobs or whatever, right? What happens in your brain is that new neurons are activated, right? And it fires off all sorts of different reactions, but mainly, chemical, which involves physiological changes, right? So down to the genetic level, it literally activates dormant genes that have been there, but never stimulated, never used. It activates it. So it turns on different parts of you, right? So and it's not something that's always visible. Sometimes it is physiologically visible. Sometimes it's just something you could only pick up really when you look at their mannerisms or whatever. But what this means is that if you were to apply it in this scenario, people out there in Texas are more prone to just like seeing one specific way, one specific like lifestyle of monotony, whereas New York, that's impossible. As a New Yorker, even as a little kid, you're going to naturally be placed in very different situations all throughout your life, right? So like going by that like biological factor, it's literally kids out here are experiencing different stimuli, many different variations of stimuli at a very, very short time frame. So what that is like very rapidly activating different parts of your genes, which is literally turning on different parts of you.
I feel like in any situation, if you put any one of these like New York kids to like the same age, size, whatever, like one of these kids from like Texas or some shit, they would obliterate them in like verbal abuse or verbally. They'd be keener. They'd be quicker, like wittier. I'm not saying more intelligent, but they'd be quicker and wittier because their brains are trained to be snappy, and
more resourceful,
be able to like come back at you really quick with something else, And they're also a lot quicker to violence and a lot quicker to yelling. Even since I've gotten here, I yell more. Riding my first time through Manhattan in all these years by myself. Oh, it snapped right back. At first I was timid, like, oh, excuse me, sorry. A couple blocks down. Once I made it past, like, Houston Street. Oh, my fucking God. Delete that. No, keep it in.
And you're like, fuck these guys, man.
Houston. So, yeah, once I made it past that, I started, like, I started putting my fist out when people were trying to get in front of me and walking, like, when they do that fucking thing where it's a pure green light. You should be able to go full speed through that green light, but there's no more cars behind you. So all the people look and they go, fuck this guy on his bike. And they create the human wall. And you're just like, what the fuck? And they just like, it's so cold. It's so cold and impersonal.
You know what I don't like?
But it's also, I get so fucking angry, man. I want to crash into them.
You know what makes me mad living in the city now? People who aren't from here that move here. Like, like a lot of my friends, this is fucked up because a lot of my friends aren't from here. And
I hate people that walk out into the street not looking at cars incoming towards them
or
bikes coming.
All right, you're clearly still hung up over this. Yes. So, all right, let it all out, Brendan. Let it all out.
Yeah, when people like, cars, other people like, oh, you should ride in the bike lane. Okay, let me try this out. Let me try this theory. I ride in the fucking bike lane. There's a guy with a fucking hand cart with the boxes in it. There's a fucking cab that just cut me off to pick up a customer right to the fucking bike lane. There's a cop car just parked right in the bike lane. Like, that's fucking okay. You're allowed to park here because you're a fucking cop. There's fucking people that look the wrong way on the street. They're looking where the cars are going, not where they're coming from. They just go, fucking, I'm walking out into this green lane because fuck them. And then they get pissed when you're like, whoa, and they're like, asshole. It's like, you're walking. It's like jumping in front of a train going, how dare that fucking train almost hit me.
Wow.
You know, that's what it feels like.
I don't know.
And after a while, I think people don't like bicyclists because we think we're too aggressive. You know what? We wouldn't be.
To me, you're acting like you're fucking entitled to people following the rules. You're not entitled to that. That's something you just have to hope for.
If everyone followed the rules, it would go a lot smoother.
Yeah, but you're not entitled to that.
But then one person doesn't, another person doesn't. All of a sudden, the city is chaos.
All right, fine, but you're not entitled to it not being chaos. If it's chaos, that's out of your control, and you don't deserve chaos just because you think you do.
But then they don't deserve to get angry when you are just doing your own thing and you have to swerve in between them because they're walking in front of a green light.
It's not up to you to dictate how people feel. They're allowed to get angry at you. That's completely like not in your control or your real, like that's not in your realm.
Yeah, but people got a lot of shit to say about bicyclists when they shit all over them.
Yeah, but you know what? You clearly have a lot to say about them too, so you shouldn't think of it that way. You know how I think of it when I ride? And I ride recklessly, all right?
I'm a pedestrian.
Listen, I'm no fucking pussy when it comes to riding. So here's what I think when I ride. What goes through my mind is I don't matter. I don't matter as much as any of these other people. Like, basically what this means is any risk I take on, any discomfort, whatever, that's all assumed risk. That's all on me.
No, I think it's a matter of not being considerate and alert enough.
Yeah, but you know what? When I'm walking, don't fucking sit there and act like you're the perfect cyclist either. You fuck up plenty of times too. I fuck up. You gotta live and let live.
No, but what I'm saying is
it's an honor system. It's not law. Like,
I wait for the light to change. Why can't I wait 3 more fucking seconds for the walk to go on? I do. And if I see a bike lane, I'm not going to go walking through the bike lane.
No, you're forgetting how you used to ride when you
look.
Yeah, but that's not.
I make sure I'm not gonna fuck up anyone's day and jump in the middle of a car.
Yeah, but that's not that. Yeah, but that's not how you rode before you moved to fucking Texas. You used to ride like a dick, like the way I do now.
No, I rode like a dick for the first year or so before I realized it was the wrong way to ride. Because they went.
No. That's when you rode like a retard. I meant after that, after the retard phase, then you started riding like a dick. There's a difference. Yes.
Where are you coming up with this?
Are you serious? As a bike messenger, you're going to tell me you didn't cut reds? That's being a dick, Brendan. You cutting reds as a bike messenger, you have to cut reds. You know this. As a former courier, I know you have to cut reds. It's not a question, but you do it.
I do it very precisely, and I
still fucking
I don't zoom in front of somebody. You know what? I'm planning on going behind you.
Yes.
You shouldn't have stopped.
Yes,
you should have kept walking.
No, I agree. If you're good, it doesn't matter. As long as you don't stop, you don't make a car go, or as long as you don't make a person go, whoa. If you could do that, then yes, you're a good rider.
The thing is their reaction. So a pedestrian's walking, and you're timing it like you're playing Frogger.
You got to be psychic.
So you're going at this many miles per hour as this person's walking, expecting them to keep walking at that same speed and looking forward, but then they notice you, and that's where it goes wrong. It's when they react. But now they're playing the shuffle, and they're standing in one spot,
I hate
and
that.
now you have to like dodge her. It's like, dude, don't pay attention to me. If I can be invisible, I can maneuver this shit like super fast.
Yeah, but that's
everyone's reaction and changing the patterns that fuck it up.
So this is what
you were supposed to be continuously walking at 3 miles per hour at this time, and I was going to be perfectly 2 inches behind you as you pass, as I'm zooming by you.
So, but this is what I'm talking about. The fact that we're even discussing and even know this game makes us dicks on the roads too, just the same. Because to even like engage, if you look at like real casual riders who care about safety and the bike law, look at them. Look, they're lames. They're literally like, what's the point of even riding a bicycle? You're getting nowhere fast. Like they're just like, and they stop at every red light, wait till it's green. You see those fucking squares?
I tried all the new bike lanes, and they're way more dangerous than riding in the middle of the
street.
All I know is I have more control.
All I know is listen.
I can get a full visual on everybody in all the cars.
Yo, Brendan. All I'm saying is I agree with you for every reason you've ever ridden objectively like a dick. I agree with your reasons for doing it, but just don't sit there and fucking criticize others like you're somehow better than them, because I don't think that way. You shouldn't either. Like, It's good to yell at them, though. I agree with that. You should yell at people.
No,
That's
it's
right.
not just, it's not
You
just
should
other
yell at
people. It's other bicyclists that piss me off the most of the time.
Yeah. When they're riding, there was one
When
time.
they're riding directly at you, it's like,
You
motherfucker,
know what I
I'm
did?
going up 6th Avenue. It's so much easier to ride down 5th Avenue and make a little turny turn than it is to try to go fucking 10 blocks up fucking 6th
You know what
Avenue.
I did? You know what I did? Like some like Hasidic Jewish guy on his bike was like going the wrong direction. I literally went to the outside.
I've clotheslined somebody, yes.
Yeah. I went to the outside. I stuck my arm out, and he got shit scared, and then I just like put it away. Like at the last minute, I was like, "Wrong side, asshole." See, you got to do shit like that.
And these fucking electrical food. Okay. Bicycle messengers, I swear to God, we have a culture. They have fucking etiquette. These food delivery fuckers are fucking cunts, okay? They're fucking assholes.
Yeah, because they don't know the way.
From
they don't
other
know the
countries, and they don't respect.
See, do you see why I hate these fucking e-bikers? Like, do you see why
they come up at like 25 miles an hour, going up the wrong way, not faltering. They're just going. They fuck you, buddy. I don't give a shit. They're putting everyone in danger. Pedestrians, cars, themselves, and you. They're a bunch of fucking assholes.
Yeah.
I only had to ride through there in a day, and I'm like,
because,
this is fun. And I was actually on the ferry, and there's some other spandex kind of bicyclist, but I can tell he rides to Manhattan a lot, right? So I'm like, I moved back here. I haven't ridden in Manhattan by myself in like 7 years. Well, how do I say? Is it still fucked up? And he's like, it's like, no, cars, bike lanes are better. It's a little bit easier, and then he saw some guy with a electric bike walking by, just walking through the ferry, getting ready to get off. He's like, it's these guys you got to worry about. And I'm like, you're right. Yeah. And he's like, they don't even make noise when they move.
They're such assholes, dude.
They're like silent.
You know what I do? Sometimes, like, I like to pass them when they're not expecting. I'm like, cheater. You know, like.
No, but they pass me. But when you pass somebody within an inch away from them, you have to fucking say on your left or on your right. Common fucking etiquette. If I'm going to zoom past someone, on your right, so that not to just make a right turn and all of a sudden, and we both collide.
But you know what? Like, day. Honestly, these days I have like I enjoy it way more because like I'm not a courier anymore. I'm not a bike messenger. So I could, if shit like pisses me off in the street, literally, I'll just like go off on the curb and do tricks for like a minute to cool off, and I'll be like, that was fun, and then I would just go back to like going towards my destination. This is why I like love riding for pleasure, especially now that I could actually afford like nice shit for bikes. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get the sickest bike.
No, I can't even ride for pleasure in Manhattan without getting pissed off, and I think that's right. That's what's gotten me through riding is because I'm afraid at first. I have anxiety, but then the anger overrides the anxiety, and all of a sudden I ride better.
See, for me, it's like I've already found too much enjoyment in doing way riskier shit than I'll find on the road. Like I've done sets on my bike. I've done like I've like done
because there are cars that will cut you off and get in front of you and almost kill you because they notice that you're acting kind of timid. But when they know that you don't give a shit, go ahead, fucking hit me, they back off. I swear to fucking God, it's like a power trip in the fucking road in Manhattan. Everywhere you go, as a bicyclist, it's like you're a fucking...
All right, but you know what?
That's stampede of fucking 10-ton juggernauts.
Listen, that's Manhattan. That's not Staten Island. In Staten Island, they don't give a fuck. Like, all right?
Staten Island, they don't... Yeah, even if there's a... Even coming down Midland Avenue today, on the bike lane, honk, honk, it's like... There's a fucking line separating us. I am not obstructing any... I'm not even in here. I'm not even here to you. Just ride the way you normally ride your fucking car, asshole. Just when you make a fucking sharp left turn or right turn, maybe consider looking into your rear view and see if somebody's coming up that same way.
That's why, like,
that's why I ride in the middle of the street, because you can't make that turn and almost kill me because
that's why
I'm on the left side of you now.
When I ride specifically in Manhattan, that's why, like, I make a point to make sure I piss off more people then people can piss me off.
I don't want to piss anyone off.
No, I do.
Everyone just
I do.
When
I'm in Manhattan, I want to get into people's faces. You know, like I do.
Like a Chinese finger trap of people. It's
but
like
you know where?
The harder you push, the more pushy it gets.
But
the harder you pull until you join together, that's when the Chinese finger trap just falls off. But when you're like forcing it, it fucking gets tighter and tighter, and that's what Manhattan feels like, a fucking Chinese finger trap of human nature.
No, I don't know. I mean, my 3 years as a bike messenger taught me one thing: you may not fuck with people, but somebody out there will always fuck with you.
So, there's too many people trying to get somewhere and everyone has their own vibe, and everything like it's messy. It's a messy, chaotic.
You know what I do like though?
It's a jungle. It's a fucking jungle. It really is an urban jungle, like a concrete jungle.
You know what I do like though? Like I think I understand what you're saying. And it's nothing to do with like fucking with people or not fucking with people. It's being tapped into the flow, especially when it comes to the traffic. It's like a blood vessel, you know, like the way it flows.
Yes,
is like
you get that feeling too. It's weird. It's a weird feeling.
You know what I do now? You know what I do
now?
now?
Like you're like just one little small. When you're in a big populated area like that, that's the difference between living in Texas here. Like when you're in a big populated area, you get on a train, you get on a bus, you get anywhere. You just feel like you're just like this small, insignificant like
blood cell.
Blood cell that's just like floating around this huge vein that goes to this body that is the city that sustains itself through our labor and through our work. And it's like you don't feel that same way in like Texas.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little bit. I kind of like it. It's like something you can put on your headphones and go into your own world and just like boom.
Dude, if you rode with me in Manhattan, you know what I would be doing a lot of that you would see me doing? I would probably be sketching a lot. Like that's my new hobby. You know,
I've gotten really like almost died.
I got so good at it. Like I could do it on any car.
And
I could hold on to
I don't understand why buses do this. They fucking stop. And so many times I've sketched and then the rider sees me and I love that, and he stops and I'm like, dude, just fucking keep going, man.
Dude, I love that. If they stop,
this is not on you.
Listen. If they stop,
if I die,
listen. If they stop, I just get right in front of them and I was like, thanks, and I sketch on to the next thing. Like I got really good.
Well, that's what you have to. The whole thing is you have to like kind of pull
and you get
propel,
launched.
And then you lunge yourself ahead of that and grab onto the next thing.
Yeah. It's like a slight little boost, and I'm just like, as soon as they stop short, I'm like whoosh.
It's easier. That's why I think I want to get a fucking like road bike again now, because I'm like it's easier to do these things when you have a freewheel.
Yeah, but that's pussy. That's pussy shit.
But you can do a lot more daring and shit and be able to correct and fix it and stop in time.
It just sucks that you're the one that even got me into riding fixed, and now you're talking about getting a road bike. I'm like, you fucking traitor.
I've went back and forth my whole career.
Yeah, I know. And you're right. They're
both
gone,
good for different
especially
things.
As a messenger, I've definitely gone single speed a bunch of times.
To be able to go downhill at full speed, pedaling indiscriminately and just blasting on the pedal whenever you feel like it to gain a little boost of speed. And then whenever you want to, tapping on both brakes and go and be able to stop and go at a red light going fucking 35 miles an hour and then stop in a second.
Yeah.
You can't bomb down a fucking hill at 35 miles an hour.
You know what it is? Listen,
on a fucking fixed gear.
It's really like
you're gonna die.
It's really like saying how they say like learning how to drive manual just makes you a better driver all around. It's true. It's like because I drive manual, if you put me in an automatic car, like I'll know how to handle the shit out of it.
I've had when I lived with these group of bike messengers. One dude, he called himself Jiggy Fly.
I know Jiggy Fly.
Yeah, okay. So he got a fixie, and he said he did it because it helped him understand how to keep a cadence.
Yes.
And
that's why most people who ride.
And then when you do get on a regular bike, it feels like it's broken at first, because when the pedals do stop propelling you and like just stop and the bike's still coasting,
you gotta keep going.
It feels like it's weird, and then you just keep up with the cadence.
That's true. You know, every time you coast, you're slowing down. When you coast, that's literally
but if you're going down a hill, the best thing to do is I always do that, like the one leg up, kind of like, and holding both brakes and like tempering it with the back brake, and like really just like being able to bomb down a hill going 30 miles an hour and being able to slow down fast enough to just at the end of it safely.
Well, what I do is I can't
have that free feeling with a fixed gear. I have to control
What I do when I bomb down a hill, you'll probably see me do it, is I'll just like unstrap my feet, place my like left foot on the back wheel, and then just like modulate, use my foot as the brake, and then just like zzz, 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 you know, and like jam it if I stop.
I've torn like holes through my shoe doing that though.
I don't know.
Just buy new shoes.
No, I guess it's whatever for me. Like I don't do it too often, but if I have to and want to,
I walked when I was driving down Victory Boulevard. I walked a bunch of times. I'm like, too steep, and I'm like, shit, I can't do this. If I want to travel using this fucker, I need a road bike. Those are made for traveling. They really are.
What kind of road bike would you get?
Just a road bike, just probably like just like regular road bike drop bars.
Yeah, I think the
little like on top of the brakes, hold it like the bull horns with the brakes on the top.
I mean, look.
But also have like 4 brakes. So
I think I think a lot of time has passed. I think a lot of time has passed since you first got me into these things, And I think I've definitely experienced like a wide range of quality of parts. And now I'm like, I think right now, like with my build, I think I'm at the cream of the crop right now.
Maybe we should both try road bikes.
Yeah.
And just
you're
go
right.
crazy.
You're right.
Bomb
You're right.
down
You're right.
crazy hills.
Yeah.
Just, and once the bike gets too shaky because we're going 45 miles an hour, we just
So my
slow
plan is,
down and like
I think
really fucking travel like a car.
my shit's gonna be hooked up though. You know that, right? Like it's
Yeah.
gonna be fucking hooked up. I think I would start off with like
The one thing, it's high maintenance. It's a little bit more high maintenance.
I think
We're
I would
used
start-
to,
yeah,
even
yeah.
if the wheel goes out of true, it's not a fucking issue.
no.
But if a wheel goes out of true on a road bike, you have to fix that shit, or else your brakes might not work.
I think
You
I,
rub
you know
against
what?
it.
I don't even think I want anything crazy. I want a 3-speed. I want a 3-speed road bike
Wait, where are the 3 speeds?
in the back cog, in the back wheel.
Yeah, I like simpler.
Yeah, 3-speed. But
Even
I
on
don't
a
know.
road bike, dude, it's not even. I barely change gears because I don't understand the concept of I'm going uphill, so I'm going to shift into a gear where I have to pedal twice as much to go like 2 miles an hour.
Yeah, but what if you?
Whether you can just keep
What
that
if you-
momentum
what if you-
and just
What if you? All right.
up the hill and
All right.
just fling
Listen.
yourself.
What if you had to pedal 2 times as much, but 2.5 less times as hard? Isn't that worth it? That little difference.
Yeah, but just like
Exactly. So you're balancing it out. That's the whole point. That's the science in it. That's why the gear ratios matter. There's math, actual physics. When it comes to races down to like the fucking millisecond, yeah, that matters.
I guess so. I never really got good at that. I always like kept like 1 or 2 speeds that I was like good at like controlling.
Yeah.
And I just stuck with those. I would find my like Goldilocks speed, and I would
No,
just keep the bike pretty
that's
much
not-
on that most of the time.
That's a waste of money then to ride a road bike. You might as well just stick with a fucking single speed. I would do a single speed. I think I might, instead of getting a road bike, I'd rather just get a single
just for
speed.
brakes.
Yeah. And I don't want to use my bike right now as a single speed. I'd rather get a whole new build, you know, like something hooked up, like a Specialized or something.
I kind of feeling a road bike. You know.
As long as you use those gears.
One of
you
the best bikes I had was like a mountain bike modded to have like fat road bike tires, and it had a speedometer, and I would hit 45 on it sometimes. It was amazing, and it had great fucking brakes. And oh god, I went so so I really think some of the best old school messengers ride like souped up like cyclocross or mountain bikes that they like made to like handle like a road bike.
Yeah. All right. Well, right now we're pretty much past our time. It's time to wrap it up. So I think this was a good one.
Yeah, it was just a nice convo.
Hells yeah. It was pretty much low key. Anyway, bye everybody.
Good night.